5 tips to help you become a high-value man. In all seriousness, I hate that term. Because what does that even mean? I could sit here and tell you all these things that a good chunk of women like, and I do that with my content sometimes, yes. If that's not who you genuinely are, what happens after you get the girl? You don't get to be yourself the rest of your life? Or you go back to old habits that you once had because you did it to get a girl, not because you genuinely wanted to make those specific changes, and then what? She ends up not liking you for you and leaves. It becomes a waste of time for both of you. The question for you is, who do you want to be? What are you doing to work towards your goals? What you want out of life? Nothing is sexier than a man who is himself and he's working towards the things that he wants. He's not just doing things to win over a woman. Some of those qualities that a lot of women naturally find attractive, like confidence, and comes from you doing the things that is genuinely for you hitting your goals, you doing those things that you want. Men should not be expected to propose with a ring. I changed my mind. Yesterday, I caught my fiance looking at rings, and I was really confused. It's like, I got a ring, and he's like, oh, it's your wedding ring. I'm looking for your wedding ring. It's right here. Like, I've got one. And he's like, no, we get you another one. Okay. Then what happens to this one? And I'm like, do we just, like, put it back in its box and put it in my jewelry box? And he's like, yeah. You're meaning to tell me you spent a bunch of money on this ring, and then I just get another one when we get married? A lot of people get married like 1 to 2 years after being engaged. So you only wear this ring for 1 to 2 years? Why didn't you propose with a ring pop then? Or, out of one of those quarter machines, the little plastic rings or something? Like, and I know some ladies get a little extra ring soldered on, and that's totally fine. I get that. I thought that's maybe what the norm was. I didn't realize people went out and got a totally different ring, though. That is so wasteful. What's the point of spending that money? I was telling him, it's like, I don't need another ring. I'm happy with this one. Yeah, maybe 5-10 years down the road, we could talk about upgrading if I really wanted something different. I mean, I doubt it, but just in case. Red flag with a woman is if she expects excessive amounts of approval, acknowledgement, or compliments, because that means other people define her self-worth. Another red flag is if she only seems to care about the qualities in other people that benefit her. All of her relationships are super transactional, and she throws them away as soon as they stop benefiting her. I was actually reading a book called Running on Empty. You guys might want to check it out. It's a pretty good book. In the book, it was talking about how some of your food preferences are actually developed when you're a kid, which makes sense. And obviously there are neurodivergent people who may struggle with stuff like that, which makes sense. Again, I did read though that you can work on that if that is an issue that you have. Obviously, if you're neurodivergent, that might change things a little bit for you. But if you're not, you actually can work on your food taste and develop healthier habits if maybe you really like the unhealthy food and that's the only thing you eat. That was definitely one of those videos where it's like I could see kind of both points of views and I was struggling with that. It's not fair to force your partner to eat food that they're not willing to. I also understand being a little embarrassed or frustrated when you go to a fancy restaurant and they're only ordering the same thing. I also seen in the comment sections, there was one person saying that music and food was a big deal to them, which I feel is totally valid if that's a preference that you need to have in order to have a happy relationship. I gotta admit, I was ready to start a fight because of that song she used. She was actually in the comment section saying that she loved the flowers. I don't know why she used that song, maybe to purposely get people to comment. But look at how much the comment section checks out. Only a few women were being super shallow, and that makes me so happy. Like, those are some of the best flowers to get because they bloom and they last longer. And it's kind of a surprise because you don't know exactly what they're gonna look like until they bloom. It's crazy to me that not only are some women demanding flowers, but they expect them to look a very specific way. Just be happy he got flowers for you, you know? Right? Sometimes these situations are the absolute best. I'm actually so grateful that my ex cheated on me, as crazy as that sounds, because it made it so much easier to move on from someone who just wasn't right for me in general. And it gives me the opportunity to pursue some of the things that I really couldn't. Ladies, how are you not embarrassed when you don't tell him what you want, and you instead play these weird games and hint around? Like, yeah, we know men don't often notice the hints, so not only are you playing this stupid game to not even get what you want because he's not gonna figure it out, but the men who actually do figure it out and decide not to buy into it, that's embarrassing, because then you're just letting him know that you're too scared to ask for what you want. That for whatever reason, you don't have the guts to just be like, hey, I want this, or I would like this. Also sends a strong message to him that you're very immature, which is a huge red flag. And if he doesn't notice, you're just playing games by yourself. So like, what's the point? Men are likely to give you what you want if you just ask for it. Men are very generous, and he'll care about your happiness if he cares about you as a person. Like, yeah, he can't give you everything that you want all the time, but a lot of guys will put in the effort if what you're asking for is reasonable. There really is no benefit to playing these games. I cannot think of a single one. It's just very passive. And again, embarrassing. Really embarrassing.
Your spouse getting lucky just doesn't sit right with me. It seems like, well, why is that a lucky thing? That you would be intimate with your spouse. I don't know, it bugged me, and it's still bugging me.
I agree. It should be mutual. And you know, if you guys are a little bit different, that's fine too. Figure out what works for both of you. But when you call it getting lucky, or you're only willing to do it because it's his birthday or a holiday, I feel like that sends a really bad message to him. That you're not attracted to him, that it's a chore. I feel like it's one thing for some random person on the street to reject you, or even a friend. When it's your partner, that is so much more painful. And I fully agree, it's bare minimum. It breaks my heart that a lot of men are in situations like this, and it's become so normalized. A lot of people just don't even see an issue with it. Men's wants and needs in a relationship are already laughed at and mocked in every way, and he can't even expect bare minimum.